Farmer Fletcher for one says, "Do you have any more cool Japan stories?" I mean, I've told all my Japan stories because I was only there for a week. I think the one that I don't tell as often because it's embarrassing is that I went to in Japan. If you're a foreigner, they have tax-free, literally tax-free tech stores. So if you buy any Japanese electronics in Japan as a foreigner, you do not have to pay sales tax on it. So if you go to Japan, because the electronics are actually made there, and because they have no sales tax, if you are buying them as a foreigner, you can get some really high quality, really cheap electronics for basically nothing. And so when I was there, and sorry, I'm saying this really slow because I'm looking for something as I say this, but while I was there, I received 50,000 yen from an advertising executive who just gave us all money for some reason because he's rich and that's what they do for Christmas over there. Just give everybody money. So I took my 50,000 yen that I was giving as a Christmas gift, and I immediately spent it on my first 4K monitor with the justification that I would be using it to develop Infinity Next at a 4K resolution, just to make sure that it worked on those monitors. And I did actually use it for that purpose, so it wasn't all a lie. But I carried this home mostly by... No, I was following them on the way back to the hotel. And as I did this, I fell on my ass. And I fell on my ass because I was walking across the intersection, the designated... I would not jaywalk, obviously. I was walking across the pedestrian crossing, and it was slick with ice because it was frozen. They had salted it, but the ice had frozen back over. So I just fell on my ass, and I was just sitting there with my legs stretched out and this giant 4K monitor in my lap. And it informed me of how Japanese people are, because this was incredibly embarrassing for this fat American pigoo to fall flat on his ass in the middle of a road as traffic waited patiently with a 4K monitor in his lap. But Japanese people, when they see something humiliating like that, they instinctively ignore it. So it was kind of this weird thing where I did something that was a huge spectacle in the middle of a busy street, surrounded by people, and all Japanese people averted their gaze from me to politely give me space, like not to pay attention to this embarrassment unfolding. But as an American, it just made it more awkward. And I felt like I was so embarrassing that people couldn't stand to look at me. And in America, someone would offer help, but in Japan, they just pretend not to even notice it. So that was... I don't think I tell that story very often because it's weird. Since you mentioned it, and since I'm in a great mood, and since my internet works, I feel like I will share some photos. I have this on a personal backup. This is Sapporo when I was in Japan. Sorry, let me get... So as you can see, like I said, exactly what you imagine when you think of Japan. So that was very close to the hotel that we were at. This is a picture of Frederick, and I think that's Tom next to him. I don't know why. I took this picture because I thought Frederick in his motor wheelchair going down the snow and leaving like a little lonely trail of wheelchair prints was very Kino. So I just took a picture because I thought that was very it was a great shot, basically. So this is one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. And then Ron, who is QAnon in my opinion, had a Shiba Inu. I've told this story quite a bit too, but I'll reiterate it because why not? We're getting close to the seasons. It's time for old man stories. Ron's Shiba was kept inside his apartment, and you're not supposed to keep those dogs inside because they're very hyperactive, and when they're bored, they start to tear up furniture. So literally everything inside of Ron's house was torn up because he has this extremely active dog in an apartment, and it's cruel to do that, in my opinion. So the dog tore up everything. And I said, like, Ron, the dog needs exercise. Let me walk it. Because that sounded fun. I love the dog. I want a Shiba Inu. I think they're very cute. As cringe as that is to say. I think they're very adorable. So I took the dog. I convinced Ron to let me walk it. So we went downstairs, and he was so happy to be outside that he immediately took off, and I didn't want to like pull him back, so I ran with him. The dog took off. I tried to run to keep up, and the sidewalk had been plowed, so there were these giant piles of snow on either side of the sidewalk, and the dog literally jumped into the pile of snow and then jumped into it like across the sidewalk into the other pile of snow and did this down the sidewalk. And I didn't want to pull the dog back because I thought, oh, he's happy to be outside. Of course, he's an active dog. So I was chasing after the dog, like running after this dog that was just dashing, literally dashing through the snow. And the thing happened again, where all the Japanese people instinctively stopped looking at me because this spectacle of this fat American running after a Shiba Inu down the streets of a snowy white Japanese Christmas street was embarrassing to them. So they all pretended to not see this, to not see me having fun. Whereas Americans would look on and smile because it's fun that someone's having fun. But Japanese people, no, that's embarrassing. We loaded everybody loaded up into the truck shortly after then. After the dog had a few minutes to go pee and stuff. And as we loaded up into the van, the dog violently assaulted Frederick. Now, this may seem cute, but keep in mind, Frederick is literally helpless here. He does not have the physical strength to pry this dog off. This dog is stronger than him. So this is dog kiss rape, basically. He has not expressly given consent to this dog kissing. And he has no means to pry the dog off of him. So the dog violently started licking him, and he was completely helpless to it. And this is also one of my favorite pictures that I've ever taken. And that was that. The only other thing I can think of there's a couple other things that happened because every day was pretty eventful while we were there. But the other funny thing that really stands out to me in my memory is that on Christmas Day, Star Wars Episode 7 had just released. And we all went to the movie theater to see Episode 7, completely packed out. It was a subtitled movie, so it was in English. And we all stayed near the back because Frederick couldn't sit in the seat. So we rolled his wheelchair up to the handicap parking, and we all sat in the seating, either directly beside him or in the top row next to him. I sat in the top row next to him, and because of how we sat directly in front of the seat, we were kind of in the middle of the row. Well, here's a fun quirk about Japanese people. They do not get up during the credits. So the lights come on, the movie's over, Frederick and Tom rolled out, and me and Ron were sitting on the top row, completely surrounded by Japanese people who I guess they think it's unpolite to get up while the credits are rolling. They have to pay honor to the people who produced the movie they just watched. So they sit there for the whole 30 fucking minute long credit reel that happens when the 10 million animators who work on these new movies rolls past. So I'm like, Ron has the right idea. He has the audacity to just stand up and literally climb out of the fucking chair from behind under the railing. And I'm dead center surrounded by all these Japanese people. And they look at him like they're pissed off that he's being so rude. And I'm just like stuck, and I don't have the audacity to like climb over the back of the chair and escape the cinema. I'm just canned in with the Japanese people, paying honor to the fucking Hollywood elite that produced Star Wars Episode 7. So yeah, that's your fucking dollar super chat. It's a shit. Stino,